Hey, what's up, everybody? Hammerheart Metal Reviews here once again. Today, we are going to be spotlighting a band where I'm going to run through their entire discography, giving you my thoughts on each of their albums and diving into their self-created lore. The band I'm talking about today is Valdrin. If you are unfamiliar with this band, they are from the USA, from Cincinnati, and they play a unique brand of melodic black metal. I will loosely call it melodic black metal, but there's definitely some other influences going on in there as well. Sound wise, I would say this would be for fans of bands like Dissection or Emperor. It's almost a mash up of those two styles, like melodic blackened death metal with these synth and symphonic elements that just really add this extra texture to the music. But it's almost unfair to just compare to those two bands because there's so much going on within their sound and they are so unique, especially with their lore that they have created themselves, which I will get into in great detail. This band has been around since around 2010 up to the present day, and to date they have released 5 albums, which I will preface this by saying I'm a huge fan of all 5 of these releases. I absolutely love all of them, so I'm going to show off the CDs and go through their self-created mythos or lore and kind of tell you the general concept of the story without giving too much away, because you should enjoy the story yourself by going and listening to these albums. Their mythos is called the Ausadjur Mythos, and it's really a compelling story that they do throughout these albums. Like throughout all 5 releases, they've kept the same concept going, which is something I really get behind. It adds another element to their music. Like, even if it wasn't for the story, I would like the music in and of itself. I would love the music in and of itself because it's that good, but adding this detail and the level of storytelling to the narration of this overall arc through their albums just brings it up another level altogether. So in general, the concept of this story is that it follows a celestial spirit named Valdrin Ausadjur. He's sent into the underworld, which is called the Orcus, from his planet of Ausadjur to quell an insurrection of evil gods and balance the darkness that is festering there. Essentially, the Ausadjur gods are gods of balance in the universe, and they send their soldiers to different planets to restore balance where needed. So that's kind of this storyline in a gist, but as I go through the different albums, I'll give a little bit more detail about which each specific album is about, and just how they incorporate that into their musicianship is really amazing. So, their first album was released in 2014 titled Beyond the Forest. This is the one album by them that I don't actually own the CD. It is extremely hard to find, apparently. I've been searching for it for years. The couple spots that I can find it online, it's selling for like over $100, which I'm not quite going to pull the trigger for $100. I don't think any CD is worth over $100, but I really want to get this one to add to my collection. So if any of you out there have the CD and are willing to sell it, definitely hit me up. Or if you know of anywhere that this CD is for sale, I would love to get my hands on it, especially to complete the discography. But nonetheless, I'll get to the album itself now. So this album is focused more on Valdrin Ausadjur's story here. It's where he enters the Orcus during the end times when evil is conquering over good. On his part of his journey here, he meets the overseer of the underworld, Nex Animus, who tells him what's happening, and then Valdrin agrees to what he tells him, and he goes on a quest to stop the evil gods and to try to create balance. Little does he know, though, that Nex Animus actually has his own plans to deceive the Ausadjur, and because of this, Valdrin ends up failing on his quest, and he unintentionally brings about the end of the earth. So that's a lot of concept there just for this first album as well. But musically, yeah, this is, like I said at the beginning of the video, melodic blackened death metal, even some thrashy moments in here as well. You've got really aggressive tracks, but they sprinkle in all these different elements. And for a debut album, this really knocked it out of the park. The title track here is 10 minutes long. Easily the standout track, in my opinion, on this album. Battles in the Medieval Sky is another great track here as well. Like, all in all, this is an outstanding album. I feel like as they go on throughout their discography. The musicianship just continues to get better and better. So if you listen to this one first, maybe you could say it has rougher beginnings than where they end up, but I still think the musicianship and songwriting is great here, but it does get even better on subsequent releases. Okay, so moving along to the next album, which is from 2018, titled Two Carryan Talismans. So I actually have the CD here. I always love their artwork too, just amazing stuff there. Show you the back, show you the CD, but yeah, the booklet, just amazing. So to kind of tell you what's going on here with the story, I'm actually going to read right from the booklet. So before I get into that, I will say this album is actually more focused on the antagonist Nex Animus as opposed to focusing on Valdrin. It's more from his perspective, but this is actually a prequel. It takes place before the previous album. So yeah, it's a prequel to Beyond the Forest. It's told through the accounts of Nex Animus from the end of his mortal life on Earth to the inception of his own domain known as the Orcus Underworld. Throughout his journey in sculpting the Orcus, he's visited by celestial voices from the gods of balance known as the Ausadjur, who bestow a divine edict upon him. With his eternal fate sealed as the great overseer of the Orcus, Nex bides his time in his black tower, observing and recording centuries of conflict and conquest in his domain. Through centuries of meditation, another mysterious voice from an unknown black dimension is heard. The devious voice echoes the secret rites of passage into the stars and the key to fool the gods of balance when they return upon the eve of Armageddon. So quite the story there, and as you follow along song by song, following the lyrics, it's just amazing how they incorporate this narration and concept throughout the album, and it does have a little bit of a different flair to this album than the previous because it's more focused on Nex Animus's point of view as opposed to Valdrin's. But yeah, I think compared to the debut musically, the musicianship and songwriting really dialed it up a notch. It really improved. This is a really outstanding, strong album. I absolutely love it. If I had to pick favorite tracks here, I mean, it's really tough. This whole album is awesome. But Junitox, Vesper in the Animus Lair, Funeral Tides of Orcus, Funeral Tides. It's just, I love his vocals. I love everything about this record. Absolutely outstanding stuff. So the follow-up to that is from 2020, titled Epigy of Nightmares. This is another one told from Nex Animus's point of view. This one is a lot shorter. This is only about half an hour. It's focused on like a side story about Nex Animus and how he hones his evil powers. Essentially, every song on here is about him torturing different gods in his hospice, and it's just really aggressive and violent. At this time, it was much more like aggressive than the first couple albums, which is saying something because the first two albums also have quite the aggressive black metal tinge to it as well, but they really dial it up here to show how evil Nex can be. This one in the booklet doesn't necessarily go into a ton of detail, but the songs are kind of self-explanatory as to what's going on in Nex's mind and what he is up to at this stage. This also takes place before Beyond the Forest. If I had to pick favorite songs here, once again, very difficult because this whole album's awesome, but Red Burning Candles of Hatred, Basilisk of Light, all in all, another outstanding album. So after that, it comes to 2023 with the fourth album, Throne of the Lunar Soul. So I know I have talked about this album countless times on my channel because it is an absolute masterpiece in my opinion, easily their shining moment, at least to date. I will read what this one is about conceptually because it does have a little bit in here. This one actually takes place after Beyond the Forest, and it is once again from Valdrin's point of view. So centuries after the cataclysmic events of Beyond the Forest, Valdrin returns to his homeland Ausadjur in a distant realm at the center of the multiverse. There he awaits judgment for failing in his mission to quell an insurrection of evil in the Orcus underworld which festered beneath the forlorn planet Earth. However, a strange aura of celebration permeates the air of Ausadjur upon the return of Valdrin and his newly recruited horde, and all does not seem well in the celestial kingdom of balance. And check out that album art as well, even with like the whole thing there. Get the whole picture. Just amazing stuff. Like I said, this is an absolutely epic album. It's like over 70 minutes long, but some people may say that's too long. It doesn't feel long because it is so well crafted and it tells this whole story, which is just amazing. Like, essentially, what I just read there gives the overall gist of it, but this one, to go into a little bit more detail, is also like Valdrin dreams about Nex Animus, telling him that he's still alive and that he escaped the Orcus after the events of Beyond the Forest. And then Nex Animus's deception that he had planned for so long, it eventually actually leads to Valdrin killing the mother of the Ausadjur world, and then Nex returns to his world with the Ausadjur to merge it together. Sorry, yeah, I kind of missaid that. Nex returns to merge his world with the Ausadjur world, and at this time, after killing the mother, Valdrin is possessed by Nex Animus, and this will eventually lead to what I'm guessing will be an explosive final chapter in this story, which is yet to be written. But yeah, this album as a whole, just absolutely epic and outstanding. Easily my favorite thing that they have ever done. If you were unfamiliar with this band and you want to go check out one album to get a taste, I'd say make it this one, because you will not be disappointed at all. Picking favorite songs here is impossible because this whole album is goddamn great. Golden Walls of Ausadjur, Paladins of Ausadjur, Holy Matricide is awesome. Throne of the Lunar Soul, also the title track here, it's almost got like a ballad type feel to it, well, if there's such a thing as a black metal ballad. But yeah, absolutely outstanding stuff. And that brings us to the newest release from 2025, which just came out last month, Apex Violator. So this one, once again, is told from Nex Animus's perspective. So I'll read what this one is generally about here in the booklet. In the wake of Graveyard Earth, Nex Animus travels the poison path through hidden tunnels of the cosmos to the Animus lair. For centuries of funeral tides in the prison of Orcus, he spoke to them, those whose surname he would soon adopt and whose mission he swore to fulfill. Through possession of the benighted Ausadjur, an infestation of evil begins to grow in the Holy Kingdom. The black seed will soon ignite, and the womb shall become the siphon. On the eve of cosmic annihilation, the Apex Violator will reign atop the throne of the Lunar Soul. So, with that being said, at least my interpretation of this is that this kind of takes place concurrently with Throne of the Lunar Soul, or at least like right before it or during the first half of that album, kind of from Nex's perspective as opposed to Valdrin's perspective. It's essentially, as you go through the lyrics of this, it's him just becoming a pure psychopath, which he obviously already was, but it's essentially telling of his conspiracy with the other Animus gods to reverse time and try to destroy the universe. But musically, this one is back to kind of the style of Epigy of Nightmare. Like the three albums that are more focused on Nex Animus are probably the more aggressive side of their sound. Not that there's not aggressive moments on the other two albums, but I love that depending which side of, or like which character's perspective they're focusing on for that album, it does kind of change the tone of the music. Like this is probably the most aggressive thing they've ever done, and it's absolutely outstanding. It's another one that's only about half an hour long, and it just punches you right in the face. And the songs on here are just all ridiculously good. Ignite the Murder Shrine, the Muttering Derelict is awesome, Veins of Akasha, all 5 songs here kick ass. It's hard to pick favorites, but yeah, that's kind of the gist of the story as a whole. I don't claim to be an expert by any means. You would have to ask the band to go into even more details than that. I'm just doing the best I can by interpreting what's in the booklets and following along with the lyrics. But I absolutely love the story that they're telling. I can't wait to see where it goes next. And even just if you're not into reading lyrics or following along with the story, there's enough to enjoy here just with the music alone as well, because this is just absolutely outstanding black metal. Like I said, one of my favorite active bands that's going. So yeah, I just wanted to do a little spotlight about them today. And if you're unfamiliar with them, hopefully this gave you some interest to go read the story and to listen to their music, because it is definitely a journey worth taking. So anyways, let me know what you think about their albums down below. Let me know which one your favorite is. Mine is clearly Throne of the Lunar Soul, but I love all of these, so if you prefer a different one, I totally could get that too, because these are all outstanding albums. And anyways, until next time, Hammer Heart Metal Reviews. Out.